Hello and welcome to Clearview Television News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines. In the news, re-elected President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria sworn in for a second four-year term, along with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Governors in 28 out of 36 states in Nigeria take oath of office with a vow to make more democracy dividends available to the people. British Prime Minister hopeful Boris Johnson to appear in court for allegedly lying over Brexit. I am Prudence Okonya with the details of these and more. President Muhammadu Buhari has been sworn in for a second term in office at the Eagle Square, Abuja. The acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, administered the oath of office at 10:37 a.m. The president was flanked by his wife Aisha when the oath was being administered. Earlier, the acting CJN had administered the oath of office on the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, at 10:25 a.m. He was also flanked by his wife, Dolapo. The ceremony was witnessed by some members of the first family. It would be recalled that President Buhari of the All Progressives Congress had defeated his main challenger, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, at February 23, 2019 presidential election. Buhari emerged the winner of the election with 15,191,847 votes, while Atiku scored 11,267,978 votes. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, arrived the venue by 9:40 a.m. Our reporter observed the inauguration was witnessed by a former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, and former president and former head of interim national government, Chief Ernest Shonekan. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida were absent at the event. Other dignitaries include members of the diplomatic corps, security chiefs, business mogul Aliko Dangote, governors, lawmakers, former ministers, traditional rulers, among others. At the Eagle Square were the chieftains of the All Progressives Congress, including the national chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, the national leaders, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Chief BC Akande, among others. Our correspondent reports that Saraki and Tinubu hugged each other. At the event, there was tight security at the venue. Major events for the swearing-in have been shifted to June 12, the country's new Democracy Day.
I,
Muhammadu
Buhari,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Of Nigeria,
Except as may be required
except as may be required
for the due discharge
for
of my
the
duties
for the due discharge of my duties
as Vice President.
as Vice President.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And moving on, the Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello has felicitated the President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on behalf of the people and government of Kogi State on their inauguration for a second term in office. Bello said their outstanding victory in the 2019 general elections, widely adjudged at home and abroad as peaceful and credible, is testimony to the willingness of Nigerians to continue the nation's journey to the future under their leadership. The governor said Kogi State gave the overwhelming majority of their votes in the presidential elections and also elected the APC in over 90% of all legislative positions vied for. He noted that Kogi State voted strongly for the promise of a next level and simultaneously reaffirmed their faith in the leadership Buhari and Osibajo. He expressed the hope that the next level will be characterized by open and transparent government, national security, economic prosperity, human capital development, agricultural revolution, zero tolerance for corruption, infrastructural transformation, and all the globally acclaimed indices of good and forthright governance. And as President Muhammadu Buhari took oath of office for his second term on Wednesday, legal luminary and founder of Afe Babalola University, Ado Ekiti, Chief Afe Babalola, has said restructuring remains the way out of country's problems. Babalola listed the problems to include dwindling naira value, lull in economy, insecurity, unemployment, hunger, laziness, rotting education sector, neglect of agricultural sector, unpaid salaries, and unavailability of funds to run government. The Abuad founder made the assertion in a statement titled, "Seek ye first restructuring and all other problems will evaporate," in Ado Ekiti on Tuesday to commemorate Buhari's inauguration for second term Wednesday, being today. He said, "My message to Nigerians and particularly to the new President Buhari-led administration on this solemn occasion is to adopt the biblical injunction to first seek the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all other things will follow." Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project has sent an open letter to President Muhammadu Buhari as he begins his second term in office, urging him to publicly commit to making every day of his stay in Aso Rock a rule of law day by ensuring that every segment of the government's daily operations is lawful and rule of law compliant for the sake of fairness, justice, your legacy, and the success of your anti-corruption agenda, which has remained stuck in limbo. The organization expressed serious concerns that the results of the rule of law in the past 4 years are uniquely damaging to the government's fight against corruption and to the country. In a letter dated 29 May 2019 and signed by Serap Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization said, making a public commitment to dedicate every day as a rule of law day will help to ensure that decisions of the courts are fully obeyed, noting such will refocus, improve, and reinforce the anti-corruption agenda. Oluwadare said it will also serve as a reminder that no one has immunity from the law, not even the government. The organization said the deficits in the rule of law have been particularly notable in 3 areas, which are failure to obey decisions of Nigerian courts, failure to push for transparency in asset declarations by high-ranking public officials, and failure to push for unexplained wealth orders against former presidents, former governors, and other senior public officials suspected of living on proceeds of corruption and dirty money. The outgoing governor of Lagos State, Akinwumi Ambode, has chosen to stay away from the inauguration of his successor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on Wednesday, May 29, 2019. Ambode, in a statement released Wednesday morning by his chief press secretary, Habib Aruba, explained that Sanwo-Olu deserves to enjoy his historic day without him sharing the glory with him. According to Ambode, "I have already formally handed over the reins of power in the state to the new governor in most cordial and convivial ceremony at the State House yesterday. The formal inauguration should have Mr. Sanwo-Olu as the star of the day. I don't think that glory should be shared with him by my presence," Ambode said in the statement. Nyesom Ezenwo Wike, re-elected governor of Rivers State, and his deputy, Ipali Buhari Banigo, on Wednesday took the oath of office to commence their second term. Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Adama Yaye Laminkara, administered the oath of office for the Rivers State governor and his deputy. The swearing-in ceremony, which took place at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium in Port Harcourt, was a huge celebration, as the arrival of Governor Wike was greeted by jubilation by the capacity crowd. after mounting the saluting dais for the ceremonial police rituals. Governor Wike drove in the ceremonial open-roof Land Rover utility vehicle to exchange pleasantries with the jubilant crowd. In an inauguration address, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Ezenwa Wike declared that he will always place Rivers State first in all his actions. Promising to make Rivers his first priority at all time, Wike said he will continue to stand up for Rivers State and defend her interests, no matter the challenges. The governor said that his administration is not in opposition to the federal government, calling for partnership to move Rivers State and Nigeria forward. Governor Wike thanked the good people of Rivers State, especially the voters, for their trust and support that led to the mandate to serve the state for another 4 years. He noted that education and health development will be given priority attention during his second term. The governor regretted that the federal government has politicized security in Rivers State and called on the federal government to assist the state tackle insecurity. Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State has made an 8-point pledge that will enhance security and develop the state to greater heights in the next 4 years. Masari made the pledge at his swearing-in ceremony on Wednesday at People's Square, Katsina. The governor listed the areas to include sustaining investment in education, increasing investment in agriculture, consolidating the gains of the health sector, and investment in water resources. Others are to facilitate wider political inclusion and youth engagement, entrench good governance, promote greater public-private collaboration, and bequeath secure and prosperous Katsina State. He stated his commitment to the realization of the pledge, assuring that the hands that will be invited to join in ensuring this success are capable, dependable, reliable, competent, and trustworthy. Governor Aminu Tambuwal has promised to reposition and strengthen Sokoto State for the benefit of all. He spoke during his inauguration on Wednesday for his second term in office. The governor, who stressed that he would be just and fair to role in the delivery of service to the state, enumerated health, agriculture, education, and infrastructure development, as well as security, as priority aspects in his second tenure. The state acting Chief Judge Justice Muhammad Saidu Seifawa administered the oath of office on the governor and his deputy amidst thunderous ovation. Tambuwal later inspected a special parade of honor mounted by the Sokoto State Police Command to add glamour to the ceremonial event. Tambuwal, who spoke shortly after taking oath of allegiance, said he noted with fulfillment the mandate given him by the people of Sokoto State to steer the ship for another term of 4 years. He, however, stated that the party and his government went through turbulent and difficulty experience, crossing several barricades in the political journey, emphasizing that it was time for everyone to embrace reality by demonstrating the needed abilities to evolve necessary change that would place the state ahead. And in Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha has been sworn in as the 6th executive governor of Imo State. The new Imo State governor was sworn in at the Dan Ayam Stadium in Owerri by the Chief Judge of the state, Pascal Nnadi. The new governor was reportedly sworn in on Wednesday, May 29th, before a large crowd shortly after his deputy, Gerald Irona, took his oath of office and allegiance. Ihedioha has said he would step on toes in his quest to deliver democratic dividends to Imo people, adding that his government will run a focused administration aimed at addressing the disturbing issues affecting the people of the state. Honorable Justice Herman Akila on Wednesday swore in Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya and Dr. Manasseh Daniel Jato as governor and deputy governor of Gombe State. They were flanked by members of their immediate families. Governor Inuwa, in his inauguration speech, thanked those who made the victory of party possible. He saluted the resolve of Gombe to cast their votes and also wait to see that it counted. The governor spoke of his resolve to formulate policies aimed at creating jobs, providing an enabling environment for businesses as well as increased water supply. The inauguration ceremony, which held at the Pantami Stadium, Gombe, state had in attendance heads of government agencies and members of Gombe Traditional Rulers Council, members of All Progressives Congress, invited guests and members of the diplomatic corps. The immediate past governor Ibrahim Hassan Dankwambo was absent at the event. And Governor Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi and his deputy Alhaji Samaila Yombe were on Wednesday in Burning Kebbi sworn in for a second term in office by Grand Kadi Mukhtar Jega. Bagudu, in his inaugural speech, assured the people of the state that the state would soon join all producing states in the country. He explained that the fuel would not be crude oil but oil made through scientific methods. Bagudu said his administration in the last 4 years recorded huge success in health, education, electricity, infrastructure, and agriculture. And Professor Babagana Zulum was on Wednesday sworn in as the governor of Borno State. Zulum took the oath of office alongside his deputy Alhaji Umar Kadafor. The oath of office was administered by the state's Chief Judge, Justice Kashim Zana, in a ceremony attended by thousands of residents of Maiduguri community, leaders, and other top government officials. The outgoing governor, Kashim Shettima, said he was delighted to hand over the mantle of leadership to an outstanding and competent personality who possessed the qualities to move the state forward. Kashim called on people of the state to support the new administration to enable it serve the people better. In his maiden address, Zulum promised to implement a 10-point agenda for fast-track, rapid social and economic development of the state. And the new governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, and his deputy, Rauf Olaniyong, have been sworn in at a ceremony held at the Obafemi Awolowo Stadium, Okeado, Ibadan. The duo took the oath of office administered by the Chief Judge of the state, Justice Munta Abimbola. Makinde, who was flanked by his wife Omini and 3 children, took the oath of office at exactly 12:17 p.m., while Olaniyan took the oath at exactly 11:57 a.m. Present at the event included former governors of Ekiti, Ayodele Fayose, Osun Prince Olagunsoye Oniola, and Oya Otumba Adebayo Alao Akala. Others are the Alafin of Oyo, Obalamidi Adeyemi, and the Olu Ibadan of Ibadan, Oba Saliu Adetunji. Afenifere chieftains, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, Chief Olu Falaye, Senator Biodun Olujimi, Senator Hosea Agboola, Chief Bolaji Ayorinde, Chief Jumoke Akinjide, and Chief Michael Kole Oso, among others. Governor Abdullahi Gaduje of Kano State has reappointed the Secretary to the State Government Alhaji Usman Alhaji and State Accountant General Shehu Muazu to work with him in his second term in office. This was contained in a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Abba Anwar, and made available to newsmen on Wednesday in Kano. Gaduje commended the duo for working with him in his first tenure, which ended on Wednesday. The governor made the announcement immediately after his official inauguration for second term in office. Gaduje urged them to work hard to ensure that the new administration be more fruitful, as he had promised the people during the second term in office. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State and his deputy Kingsley Otuaro took their oath of allegiance to serve the state for another 4-year term on Wednesday in Asaba. Their oath was administered by the Chief Judge of Delta State, Justice Marshall Umukoro, at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba. Okowa signed the oath at about 10:43 a.m., while his deputy signed earlier at about 10:28 a.m. They pledged to abide by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and to deliver equitable development to the people of Delta. The colorful ceremony was witnessed by many prominent citizens of the state, including James Ibori, a former governor of the state. You're watching Clearview Television News. We'll be right back after this time out.
This is Ibrahim calling from Niger State, Barking Power.
Oh, this is Anita from Benin.
My name is John, calling from Niger.
My name is Ahmed, I'm calling from Kogi State.
This is Clearview TV, and this is our spread through free-to-air via Niconcert and online.
Yes, this is Diffus calling you from Adamawa State.
Adamala Ahmad Ibrahim.
Mala Ahmad Ibrahim daga wace jiha kenan?
Daga Yobe.
I'm calling from Benue. My name is Chukwemeka. I'm calling from Niger State.
You can imagine how far your advertisements, social announcements, official notices, and jingles will go if you patronize us. It's time to take your messages far at the cheapest rate.
You're welcome back. Olusegun Obasanjo, former Nigerian president, and other Nigerians escaped death on Wednesday at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Other prominent Nigerians in the Ethiopian airline passenger aircraft Boeing 777-300 included the Director General of the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Ambassador Ayola Olukani. Also in the plane was Professor Samson Tunde Adebayo, the Director of Ports Inspection, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, as well as scores of Nigerians and other nationals. The passenger aircraft ET-901 had departed the Bole International Airport, Addis Ababa, at about 9:10 a.m. Ethiopian time, 7 a.m. Nigerian time. The almost 5-hour flight from the Ethiopian capital to Lagos had been smooth until the pilot attempted to land at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Rather than landing on the first touchline of the runway, the pilot overshot it due to rain and heavy wind, landing on the third touchline. On realizing this, the pilot quickly maneuvered the plane back air, flying out of the Lagos airport. After hovering around between Lagos and areas suspected to be in Ogun State, causing panic in passengers and crew members, the plane landed in Lagos airport some 20 minutes after the initial forced landing. The atmosphere in the Airbus upon landing was replica of what is obtainable in some Nigerian worship centers, as many passengers broke out into worship songs and clapping, while some fell to their knees in prayer. The duty manager and chief customer service of the airline, Otori Jimo Tan, said if the pilot had continued taxiing down after landing on the third touchline, he would have overshot the runway. Obasanjo and Olukani had both attended a stakeholders dialogue on continental trade and strengthening implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which ended on Tuesday in Addis Ababa. The Senate has approved and passed the 2019 budget of the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The budget is to the tune of 243.5 billion naira, as Clearview TV's Anita Patrick reports.
For consideration during Tuesday's plenary, Senate Majority Leader Senator Ahmed Lawan said that 55 billion naira is set aside as personnel costs, 57.6 billion naira as overhead costs, while over 130 billion naira will finance capital projects. He further said that the Education Secretariat will receive 9.5 billion naira, while the Health Secretariat gets 4.5 billion naira.
The 2019 FCT Statutory Appropriation Bill seeks to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 243,374,511,077 naira only, out of which the sum of 55,043,425,247 naira only is for personnel costs.
A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account a total sum of 243,374,511,077 naira only, out of which the sum of 55,043,425,247 247 naira only is for personal costs, and the sum of 57,610,188,661 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 130,720,897,169 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year commencing from 1st January and ending 31st December 2019 is read a third time and passed.
The Senate also approved the conference committee report on the National Tobacco Regulation Bill. The bill passed during plenary seeks to empower the Federal Ministry of Health to implement most provisions of the Tobacco Control Act, which requires regulation that includes prohibition of smoking in public places and penalties for non-compliance, as well as prohibition on tobacco advertising, promotion and sponsorship, among others. Presenting the conference committee report in plenary Tuesday, Gimade said one of its main assignments was to reconcile differences in separate bills passed in both chambers of the National Assembly.
The Senate in the House of Representatives considered and approved the National Tobacco Control Regulations 2019 with some differences. Consequently, a conference committee was constituted to harmonize the differences. The committee met on Monday, 27th May 2019 and harmonized the differences in the regulations as follows. The committee adopted the Senate version of clauses 6, 16, 21, and the second schedule, and equally adopted the House version of clause 24 and the fifth schedule.
Those in favor that the Senate do approve the conference committee report on the National Tobacco Regulation Bill 2019 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The passage of the bill is in line with the World Health Organization Framework Convention for Tobacco Control, which seeks to protect citizens from the harmful effects of tobacco use. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
And after successfully completing his tenure in the office as the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu formally handed over to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Beatrice Bako Nabasu. At the handing over ceremony, the Minister expressed satisfaction with the staff of the Ministry, who he said gave him all the necessary support and made his work easier. Clearview TV Rose Audu was there and now reports.
Ogbonnaya Onu charged the staff to give the Permanent Secretary all their support, just as they have supported him in the last few years. Speaking further, the minister said every success recorded in the ministry was a collective effort of the staff of the ministry and encouraged them not to relent in giving their best to the service of the nation.
Trying to do something that should have been done at independence. And all the countries that have done very well, whether it's India, whether it's South Korea, whether it's China, both very large countries in terms of land space, very populous nations, small population, and so on. It doesn't really matter what it is. The common factor is that they have always emphasized science, technology, and innovation. And these countries, they started early. India exactly at independence. We cannot blame the British, because if we colonized Britain, exactly what they did to us, that's what we would have, would have wanted them to serve as a market for our products and then to be a source of raw material. That's exactly what they did to us. But it was for us to now say, no, now we are independent. We will now be masters of our own, actions, and we should be able to produce things that we need so that we don't weaken our currency.
Also speaking, the Permanent Secretary, Bako Nabasu, as well as the National Secretary of the Academic Staff Union of Research Institutions, ASURI, Theophilus Undubuaku, gave testimonies on the achievements of the minister in the last few years.
So during ST, we piloted the affairs of this ministry. Giant and significant milestones have been recorded. Their visionary leadership has lifted the science, technology, and innovation sector to an enviable height.
The staff of the Ministry of Science and Technology wished the minister a happy return to the ministry, if reappointed by President Muhammadu Buhari, except for a higher appointment. Rose Audu, reporting for Clearview Television.
Earlier, the outgoing Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, called on stakeholders and the organized private sector to take up the challenge of carrying out in-depth research in the areas of science and technological innovation to accelerate job creation and poverty reduction. Onu made the call by commissioning the Shedda Science and Technology Complex as part of his last official assignments on Tuesday in Kwali, Abuja. Again, Clearview TV's Rose Audu was there and reports.
Commissioning the Shedda Science and Technology Complex building, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu said Nigeria is a blessed nation and that the right time to utilize the abundant natural resources in the country is now.
I again call on the organized private sector to come in and take interest in the numerous research findings, very important research findings that are going on in our research agencies and institutes all over the country. Because we are now targeting our research to solve our major national problems. We believe that the essence of research and innovation should be to improve the standard of living of our people.
The permanent secretary in the ministry, Bako Bitrus Nabasu, commended the efforts of the outgoing minister for putting in so much during his tenure to enhance the advancement of science and technology in Nigeria.
Honorable Minister, sir, your commitment to the upliftment of the science, technology, and innovation sector is unparalleled. And that is why these few months you have been so engaged in commissioning one project after another. That's a testimony of your commitment to this sector.
In his remarks, the Director General Shedda Science and Technology Complex, Professor Saidu Thomas, said the completion of the administrative building was made possible by the selfless input of the outgoing minister and President Muhammadu Buhari.
The building you are about to commission, Honorable Minister, has, apart from staff offices, provisions for a medium-sized conference room, a crèche for our working nursing mothers, and a mini clinic for handling of emergency health cases. It is also constructed to be friendly to persons living with disabilities, as they will be able to access all floors of the building via a well-constructed ramp.
The Shedda Science and Technology Complex is designed to also create a platform that will contribute more effectively in every aspect of socio-economic growth of the nation. Rose Audu, reporting for Clearview Television.
The Minister of Environment, Suleiman Hassan, says Nigeria is the first country in the sub-Saharan region to successfully implement the Green World Initiative. This, among others, was one of the achievements of the ministry outlined this Tuesday in Abuja at the valedictory press briefing. Clearview TV's Ife Oluwa Ishola was there and now reports.
During environmental protection, natural resources conservation, and sustainable development was the mandate the Ministry of Environment pursued for 4 years under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. The Permanent Secretary Ibukun Odushate, in a welcome address, outlined the achievement of the ministry, which included but not restricted to the commencement of the Ogoni cleanup.
Upon his assumption of office as the Honorable Minister, he hit the ground running by actualizing the vision of President Muhammadu Buhari in the long-awaited remediation of the Ogoni land as recommended by the United Nations Environment Programme. Furthermore, in this short while, under his watch, Nigeria has secured notable accomplishments in climate change issues, including improved access to the Global Environmental Facility, the issuance of the sovereign green bond, just to mention a few. He also initiated various environmental policies and programs geared towards addressing environmental pollution, land degradation, biodiversity, and efficient framework for the effective management of the environment.
The Minister of Environment, Suleiman Azan, says the Ogoni land cleanup exercise is improving gradually at an appreciable speed, and appreciated the President and the people for the opportunity given him to serve as Minister of Environment.
The administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, under the change mantra, has made significant progress in securing a quality environment conducive for good health and well-being of Nigerians by promoting the sustainable use of natural resources and development of programs that affect the environment. The flag of the Ogoni land cleanup exercise is an unprecedented feat that heralds President Muhammadu Buhari's determination to restore and maintain the ecosystem, ecological process, and preserve biodiversity in Nigeria.
In attendance were representatives of relevant ministries, departments, agencies, the private sectors, NGOs, and international organizations. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
The federal government has restated its determination in revitalizing the economy, fighting corruption and ensuring security in the country. The immediate past Minister of Interior Abdurrahman Dambazao stated this on Tuesday in Abuja at his official handover ceremony to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Georgina Ehuria. Clearview TV's Uju Onyemechalu has the details.
Integrity for the promotion of good governance is the overall mandate of the ministry. In his valedictory speech, the immediate past Minister Abdurrahman Dambazao, who recalled some of the ministry's achievements, thanked the management and staff of the ministry for creating a harmonious environment for him to work.
There are so many things we have done, but the beauty of it is that whenever we realize that we've made an error, we go back to correct it. When we came in here, there was a lot of issues about recruitment, in which recruiting 2,000 candidates became a problem. There was leading to even the death and injuries of quite a number of them. We sorted out that problem and we sat down to discuss how we would prevent that in the future. But within 2016 and 2018, we've successfully recruited about 19,000 people without any incident. And I think that proves that we have solved that problem permanently.
The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Georgina Ehuria, eulogized Dambazao, saying his dedication to duty and selfless service is worth commending.
The Ministry of Interior has indeed been the major beneficiary of the wealth of experiences and knowledge reservoir which you have carefully cultivated and accumulated over the past years. I was Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office, when I processed the various Federal Executive Council memoranda, which you passionately pushed through and led to prisons reforms and turned a moribund fire service into this modern, attractive, and capable federal fire service. I look back and I see the several innovations introduced into the Nigerian Immigration Service, such that it has become one of the most automated government agencies, driving virtually all its services online.
In attendance were representatives of service chiefs from Immigration, Civil Defense, Customs, Police, and other top officials of the ministry. Uju Onyemechalu reporting for Clearview Television.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, has called on all Nigerian workers to be committed to safe system of work to ensure that they are in good health and to enable them contribute to the development of the country. Ngige made this suggestion at the validation of revised draft on national policy for occupational safety and health in commemoration of the 2019 World Day for Health and Safety this Tuesday in Abuja. Our correspondent Joy Esekweyi now brings us the details.
The Federal Ministry of Labour and Empowerment, in collaboration with International Labour Organization and other relevant social partners, celebrated the Safety Day in grand style to ensure the atmosphere in workplaces. Speaking at the event, the Minister of Labour and Empowerment, Chris Ngege, represented by the Permanent Secretary, William Allo, says policies must be well articulated and effectively implemented in order to ensure that the desired goals and objectives can be achieved for safety at workplaces.
As a follow-up to the earlier stakeholders meeting, and whose stakeholders were engaged in the process of review of the expert national policy on occupational safety and health. The stakeholders' continued cooperation in this regard is indeed highly appreciated, while taking cognizance of the fact that a well-articulated national policy on occupational safety and health is a sine qua non for the achievement of the safety and health protection for our teeming labor force.
Also speaking, Director Occupational Safety and Health Department of the Ministry of Labour and Empowerment, Ifoma Anyanwu Taku, says the success of any organization is based on a sound policy formation that is acceptable to all.
The success of any organization, be it public or private, be it for charity or profit, is predicated on the articulation of a sound policy document that is acceptable to all. The policy review process today is expected to synchronize all efforts towards ensuring safe and healthy work practices and workplaces all over Nigeria.
The Federal Ministry of Labour and Empowerment are responsible for the enforcement of occupational health and safety at workplaces. Occupational safety and health were recognized as a fundamental human right in the 2008 Seoul Declaration on Safety and Health of Work. Joy Esekwe reporting for Clearview Television.
Moving on to some foreign stories, Boris Johnson, the favourite to replace Theresa May as British Prime Minister, must appear in court over allegations he lied to the public about Brexit, a judge has ruled. The judge at London's Westminster Magistrates Court ruled that Johnson, the former Foreign Secretary and ex-Londoner mayor, must answer a private summons alleging he had committed 3 offences of misconduct in a public office. This relates to claims that Johnson made in the run-up to and aftermath of the 2016 European Union referendum, when he was one of the leading campaigners for Britain to leave the bloc. Britons voted by 52 to 48% to leave. During both time periods outlined above, the proposed defendant repeatedly lied and misled the British public as to the cost of EU membership, expressly stating, endorsing, or inferring that the cost of EU membership was £350 million per week. The application against Johnson said the figure was a central and controversial part of the pro-Leave campaign's Take Back Control message, famously emblazoned across a campaign bus. Opponents argue that it was deliberately misleading and it became symbolic of the divisions caused by the referendum. In her written ruling, District Judge Margot Coleman said the allegations were not proven and she had made no finding of fact, but said Johnson should face trial. In submissions to the court, Johnson's lawyers said the application was a stunt brought for purely political purposes. And Turkey's hopes of joining the European Union are fading, the bloc's executive said on Wednesday, blaming authoritarian rule for worse conditions in courts, prisons and the economy. Still considered a security ally, Turkey's candidacy to join the world's largest trading group is frozen because of further serious backsliding on rights, the judiciary and economic policy, the Commission said in its annual progress report. The report, which EU governments are set to approve in June, comments a growing sense in the West that Turkey has veered worryingly away from the market reforms of the early 2000s as President Tayyip Erdogan consolidates power. A crackdown following a failed coup in July 2016, a shift to a powerful presidential system with few checks and balances and closer ties with Russia have alarmed Western leaders and financial marketers alike, sending the value of the lira tumbling. Turkey's government, which has said it is a victim of anti-Muslim sentiment in the EU and justified crackdowns on the threat from militants at home and abroad, chafed at the report. While Ankara has faced several years of harsh Commission reports, none have been so critical across so many areas including monetary policy, public administration and the fight against corruption, which Brussels said was sorely lacking. The bloc's executive said free speech and freedom to protest were being curtailed, local democracy was at risk and the government had harmed financial markets. And 16 people have been charged in Bangladesh over the shocking murder of a teenager who was burned to death after reporting sexual harassment. Nusrat Jahan Rafi, 19, was doused with kerosene and set on fire on the roof of an Islamic school on 6 April, days after filing a complaint. Headmaster Siraj Udala, targeted in the complaint, is among those charged. Police say he ordered her murder from prison when she refused to withdraw her accusations against him. They described the preparations for the killing as being like a military plan. The case sparked mass protest in Bangladesh and shone a spotlight on the vulnerability of victims of sexual assault and harassment in the country. You're watching Clearview Television News, and up next is sports.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Madam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby.
We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward.
Wait, stop.
You okay? Lean to your right. Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes.
You're almost here.
Keep going.
You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on, so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Ogutime Tololapo Ogutime. After a below par outing against Team USA in Bielsko Biala on Monday night, Nigeria's under-20 boys know they must end a result against group leaders Ukraine at the same venue on Thursday to prolong their stay at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Poland. Goals by Sebastian Zotto and a sterling performance by the entire US squad condemned the 7-time African champions to a 2-0 defeat. They still have 3 points and 2 goals advantage from the defeat of Qatar in Taiki on Friday, but any sleep could be costly for further interest in the tournament. Although they already have a spot in the round of 16, Ukraine could still finish 3rd on the log and be condemned to face the first place team in Group B if they lose to Nigeria and USA on 3 points as Nigeria racks up a big win over Qatar. Both teams go toe-to-toe at the Bielsko Biala Stadium as from 7:30 p.m. Nigerian time on Thursday, with the Flying Eagles determined to take the game to their opponent and get a win. However, Paul Igbogun boys will do well to avoid the kind of lethargic start they contrive against USA and put together more fluent attacking moves, complemented by clinical finishing if they end up as Group D winners. The Flying Eagles will travel back to Taiki to play a top-place team in the round of 16 on Monday. If they finish in second place, they will be off to Bydgoszcz to play the winner of Group E, and if they end up as one of the best third place teams, they will be off to Lodz to play the winner of Group B. Aegbogun's ward must watch out for Ukraine's Denis Popov, who has scored 2 of the Ukraine side 3 goals at the championship so far, as well as Saying Bolesta, who scored 1 of the goals against USA. 2 of Africa's 3 other representatives, Mali and Senegal, are also on good ground to reach the knockout round. Senegal top Group A after minus 6 points from beating Tahiti and Colombia, while Mali perched in second place in Group E with 4 points after drawing with Panama and edging Saudi Arabia in a 7-goal thriller. South Africa losses to Argentina and Korea Republic are pointless in Group F. The Super Falcons will travel from their veteran resort camp in Bad Tasmadov to Slovakia on Sunday for a friendly against the Slovakian counterpart, the second time both teams will be meeting this year. On 1st March 2019, at the Cyprus Women's Cup in March, the nighttime African champions edged a 7-goal thriller against the Slovakians with goals from midfielder Rita Chikwelu, who scored a brace, defender Osina Chihale, and forward Anamimo. Sunday's game comes up 5 days after the Falcons traveled to Hungary to defeat Hungarian top division team Alada's Victoria 5-1 in the first friendly since arriving at the Vita Resort for a 2-week residential camping ahead of 8 FIFA Women's World Cup finals in France starting next week Friday. And the match played at the Corrales Sports Center in Zombateli, Hungary. Victoria took the lead in the 14th minute as goalkeeper Toshiko Elue slipped while trying to punch the ball. From there on, it was all Nigeria with China-based Chiwedu Ihezuo scoring in the 32nd minute from a pass by fellow China-based forward Francisco Odega to make it 1-0 at halftime. Odega turned scorer in the 52nd minute of a corner kick by Ngozi Okobe before the assistant Oshola made it 3-1 in the 7th minute by capitalizing a pass from Chinaza Uchendu. Oshola got a second and Nigeria's fourth 2 minutes later, benefiting from Uchendu Akalu's pass, and Ugo Nachuko the round-off matters in the 84th minute of a pass from Anamimo. On return from Hungary, the Falcons will train on Monday before flying to France on Tuesday ahead of their first match of FIFA Women's World Cup against Norway in Reims on Saturday, 8th of June. Confederation of African Football President Hamad Ahmad said a special committee has been set up to deal with security concerns at the African Cup of Nations in Egypt next month. At least 12 people were injured when an explosion hit a bus carrying mostly South African tourists in Cairo 10 days ago. The rudimentary device containing nails and pieces of metal detonated on the perimeter of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Egypt's Interior Ministry said recently that militant group were planning a series of attacks in the country to create an atmosphere of chaos. The Nations Cup will feature 24 teams from around the continent to play at venues in Cairo, Alexandria, Ismaila and Suez from June 21 to July 19. A Reuters investigation last month found that Egyptian security forces had shot dead hundreds of suspected militants in what the Interior Ministry said were gun battles, while quiche-buried families were said were extrajudicial killings. At the Nations Cup in 2010, 3 people were killed as the Togo team bus was attacked by militants as they traveled to tournament in Angola, including assistant coach Amelete Abalo. Togo withdrew from the tournament, which led to a CAF ban for the next 2 editions, though that was later quashed by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Sheikh Khalid bin Saeed Al Nahyan, a member of the Abu Dhabi's ruling family, says that he has agreed to buy Newcastle United and submitted proof of funds to the Premier League, according to British media on Wednesday. British media reports have said this week that Sheikh Khalid is in talks with Newcastle owner Mike Ashley over a £350 million deal for the club, which finished 13th in the league this season. Doubts had emerged about whether the Ben Said Group, of which Sheikh Khalid is chairman, will complete the deal, but he has responded to clarify plans relating to the proposed takeover in consideration of the numerous speculations regarding the timelines of the acquisition of Newcastle United Football Club by Ben Said Group. We feel the need to issue this statement, Ben Said Group said. Terms have been agreed between us and Mike Ashley. These terms have been reflected in a document signed by both parties, which has been forwarded to the Premier League. The proof of funds statement was forwarded to Mike Ashley's lawyer on April 17, 2019. Ashley, who bought a controlling stake in a Premier League club in 2007, has in the past tried to sell the club. The owner of British sportswear retailer Sports Direct said last October he had not received any acceptable offers for Newcastle. A year after he officially put the club up for sale, but he told Sky News in December that talks on a deal had made promising progress. Newcastle United and Sheikh Khalid did not immediately respond to a request for comments. 11-time French Open champion Rafael Nadal has coasted through to a third round with a confident straight service dismissal of German qualifier Yannick Madin 6-1, 6-2, 6-4. The third set was more of a test for the Spaniard, who lost his serve twice and found himself level at 4-4. But Nadal's unbeaten record on court Susan Langley continued after Madin struggled to return. His only 2 defeats in 90 matches here happened on the main court Philippe Chatrier. For me, it's an important victory. Playing here in Paris at Roland Garros is always incredible. The 32-year-old added Nadal will take on David Goffin, the 7th seed, for a place in the 4th round. Goffin has never snatched a set from Nadal in 3 encounters on clay, but the reigning champion is wary of the Belgian threats. And that's it from the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Oguntimei Tolulopo Oguntimei.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
before we go, I'll look at our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, along with his Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, had been sworn into office for a second 4-year term which ends in 2023. Governors in 28 out of 36 states in Nigeria took their oath of office across the various state capitals on Wednesday with varied promises to make more democracy dividends available to the people. And in Britain, Boris Johnson, one of the leading contenders for the office of Prime Minister, is to appear in court for allegedly misleading the UK people over Brexit. And that's the news. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV. You can like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online. Follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online. Follow us on Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Nigecomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Prudence Okonna. Many thanks for watching.